My parents come from these rural villages in Mexico, poor villages that are off the grid, no electricity, no plumbing, and most people live off livestock and ride horses as their main form of transportation. I spent my summers here, growing up and wandering the mountains with my grandfather, who taught me how to work on his ranch, and I just never wanted to leave. It's like the greatest part of my childhood. This was the first time in 4 years we visited. We struggled a lot during the recession, and my parents just couldn't afford to go all 4 years of high school, so my grandparents missed like a big part of my upbringing. I was already getting involved in photography, and I used this trip as a way to improve my skills, so I filmed and shot everything. I got into photography because that was my duty to document my family's events. And I was there when my father had cancer, and I was there during birthdays, and I thought it was important to keep capturing these memories, and I think it's one of the reasons why I kept going with this. My mom's grandfather died, and her and I took a trip to Mexico. We went on a charter bus, and my mom was pretty upset, and I didn't really know my great grandfather that well, but I was really close to my grandpa, and I knew he was really upset. I went to Mexico with my sister and my dad's sister and my cousin, my grandmother, my dad's side. I didn't get to spend enough time with my grandparents when I was there, so when it was time for us to leave, I decided to stay. And I stayed a couple more weeks by myself in Mexico, and it was the first time I ever did that. I spent almost a month, and I was planning on staying for a couple of months, but then one day when I got signal, I got a call from my sister. She told me that my mom was going to celebrate her birthday in Flagstaff. Her birthday's on 4th of July, and I didn't want to miss a camping trip with the family. So I got a bus from Nuevo León, Mexico, all the way to Phoenix. And it was the first time I ever traveled long distance on my own as an adult. It was so exciting. I was only 21.
Who hit you?
Looking back, I'm glad that I never go without my camera because I've captured a lot of moments in my family's life and memories, and it's weird because I still haven't come across a shot where I don't remember filming it. So this is right after I finished my first year at ASU. Um, the ASU film program is pretty discouraging. I had trouble really speaking up and finding students to collaborate with to tell the stories I wanted to tell. But as my time at school went on, I started realizing, well, not realizing, I just started losing hope in myself, and I thought I wasn't going to be the filmmaker I wanted to be. I was second guessing my degree, and I felt like I was never going to really do anything. I felt like my work wasn't good enough to impress my peers. When I go on hikes, I try to practice the cinema verte filmmaking style, which is a style that's recognized as the documentary film style. Films like Hurt Locker and Children of Men are filmed like they're documentaries, and that's a style I wanted to work on and improve on, so I would always take these trips to really work on that. Long takes where I follow people and just shaky shots is like what I really wanted to do. I was diabetic for the longest time. In the summer of 2018, I was hospitalized and I almost died because of my blood sugar wasn't in control. And it was after this event where I realized I still had yet to really do anything or achieve anything. and I just got tired of waiting for my moment to shine. So one day I found a flyer for the State Press. It's a student news run organization, and they were looking for videographers, and I applied, and they immediately got back to me and gave me a job, and didn't care that I didn't have a portfolio or anything to prove my work. That's something I never found in the film school, and I feel like the State Press is what really made me into a documentary filmmaker. And my first assignment was a Trump rally in Phoenix.
Is it a Chinese house? I'm a former Republican.
Oh, yeah.
Is that I voted for Bush. I believe in conservative values. These new group of Republicans, they do not believe in conservative values. So I've been getting more and more liberal by the day.
I like the creative freedom I have with the State Press. I feel like I could have done a story on anything, and I wanted to do timely stories, so I pitched this story about a struggling elementary school teacher, and people really liked it. And this was like the first time in my school career where I actually had people liking my work. I did this video in Mexico, my mom's village, and my truck was stolen and totaled, and it delayed filming for a couple of days. I ended up winning an award a few months later, and people told me it was beautiful, and I never thought someone like me would ever create something that evokes that sort of response. I learned to accept the title of a documentary filmmaker I've been slowly building up to be without really realizing it. This is probably the best trip I took with my mom and my sister. We drove from Phoenix to Washington, and we got to see all these states, and my mom's also like me, she really likes nature, so we really had a good time on this trip, and it really brought us closer together. I spent a lot of my life taking my mom for granted, and in high school we weren't very close, and this trip made me realize how special my mom is, and I also realized how important it is to capture moments. And when I look back on these days, I want to be able to remember everything about my mom, not just her, but I want to remember little details, her laugh, her smile. I want to remember every little thing that makes her human, and I feel like visual arts gives me the opportunity to do that and to hold on to these memories. In fall 2019, I was working on my senior project. It's a documentary about undocumented immigrants, labor workers here in Phoenix. And this project, we're really trying to conceal my subject's face, and even in the interview we plan to. And I recently started as a video editor for the State Press. I thought it was fitting to make my last State Press video a Trump rally video. Without the State Press and my editors, I would have never learned how to make a documentary video, and I wouldn't have known the importance of journalism. To me, journalism is way more important than filmmaking is, and I want to tell real life stories, and I want to keep doing this for as long as I can.